So I just visited Money 2020 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Now I'm in the car back to the airport. And if you want to know why your business will go bankrupt if you don't adopt AI during the next 1 to 2 years, you better stay with me in this video because I will go into detail. And I will also explain on how you can implement AI in your business. It's in a very easy way of doing it. And I will share all of this. I'll just get back to the airport now, make a few phone calls in between, here with my friend Peter.
Yeah.
So Peter has his own company. It's called Eona. It's a precious metals trading platform. He's not live yet, but maybe you can share 1 or 2 minutes why you're so passionate about gold. What's so special about it?
Well, it's quite simple. Gold is the only form of money. The rest is all credit. Your deposit on the bank account is a credit. The shares are a credit. Everything you invest in, you think it's an asset. It's ETFs. They're all paper assets. So the real physical asset holding it, which is gold, the monetary thing, will only protect you against inflation. It will protect your wealth for the long term. Gold is as good as mankind, is 6,000 years around. It doesn't have to prove itself because it's always there, it's sovereign. So I will only say if you have a good portfolio, balanced portfolio, you invest in gold, not everything. I always say, balance it, gold, a little bit Bitcoin, real estate, and of course some cash, because nowadays with the high inflation which we have around the world, you have to think differently and apply differently. Also with AI, it's critical for the long term. Bleep.
Super cool. So obviously this guy really knows everything when it comes about preserving wealth, making money, but also keeping money. Very experienced businessman, and I'm very glad that I have Peter as a friend and also work with him. Very, very interesting. So we're going back to the airport now. If you want to guys know a little bit more about Peter, you can follow him on his LinkedIn. I will put it in the description. He's very active there. And yes, thank you very much. I see you at the airport.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Salam alaikum. Alright everyone, so I'm at the airport now. Grabbed myself a quick coffee, of course. And let's first of all talk about the topic of this video. So the topic of this video is basically why you need to implement AI into your business if you're not doing it already, why this matters so much, and how to actually do it. It's not that complicated as you might think. And in this video, I will share a very simple approach of how you can integrate AI into your business if you're not already doing it. So first of all, a little bit about me. You might ask yourself, why is this guy actually capable to talk about AI and integrating it into business? I'm the co-founder of an AI travel tech company. We're based in the UAE. We have roughly 15 developers and we're working on a fully functional AI concierge. We are now pre-launch, so we'll be launching roughly in 6 to 8 weeks. But all of this, you guys, I will also share any updates on this. So this is one side. And then second, I'm also a partner in Haimami Capital, and from there on we're invested in different other ventures. So my background is basically best of both worlds. I bring the understanding of AI, I bring the understanding of business, and I really think that this is something every business owner in the year 2025 should be focused on with highest priority, because if you don't do it, you will see very, very soon that your competitors will crush you. So why do you need it? In Haimami Capital, we are invested into a Dubai-based limousine company, which is called Mr. Nice Drive. I've spoken about it in the other video as well. And I would like to give you guys a little bit of an insight on operations, and then from there on, you'll be able to understand why this matters so much. And why do I choose this as an example? Because Mr. Nice Drive is a limousine company, which therefore it's very operational heavy, and companies which are very heavy in operations, they are predestined to integrate AI and actually bring a lot of benefits when it comes to productivity. So Mr. Nice Drive works the following. It's basically a limousine company that has the cars, has drivers, and then is connected to Uber, Careem, which is a GCC version of Uber, and has a lot of other functions as well, but for this particular case it's a ride-hailing company, so it's Uber, Careem, and a few airport transfers like Talixo, Mozio, and those different platforms now bring users, and it's our job to make sure that the limousine goes to the user, picks him up, and brings him to his destination. So for this, normally what you would do is you have a dispatch. So the dispatch then sits there in front of a huge screen, and it has a heat map there. So it will see the live data from Dubai, for example, and it will show, okay, around downtown you have a lot of people now aggregating, you have a lot of people asking for rides, so this is a very clear signal that you should now position your drivers in that area. So then if someone books a ride, you'll get an allocation of those rides. So then there's other portals where manual bookings come in from airport transfers. And now you have to imagine there's this guy, let's call him Michael. Michael's sitting behind the screen, and he gets all of this information, and now he has to act accordingly. Now he has to put this driver to this location to pick up this person. He has to put this driver to that location to make sure there's actually a location coming to that driver. If you don't do that properly, you'll not be profitable in this business. So this is not just a nice to have, it's crucial. For you guys to understand, when you look at a limousine company, and there's very, very large limousine companies in the UAE, and they have like thousands of cars and thousands of drivers, so there's many companies that have 1,500, 3,000 vehicles in their fleet, and you always need roughly one person in dispatch for 20 vehicles. So you can imagine now for yourself, okay, there's a lot of vehicles in our fleet. How many dispatch people do we actually need? And now the second part comes, which is human error. Imagine Michael, he's sitting at his screen, but he's not looking at the screen because he's sitting like this, legs crossed, scrolling TikTok. I've seen this. I walk by our dispatch and I see Michael sitting there scrolling TikTok, and he's not looking at the screen. So now he will take 30, 60 seconds before he even sees the notification. That's one part. And then also, since we are all human beings, we make mistakes. So he might allocate someone to the wrong location, or he might allocate someone to the wrong pickup location. So all of those things can happen. So operational heavy business with humans involved at a very, very critical point. Dispatch. So we sat down and we looked at it and we said, okay, what can we automate here? What can we improve here with AI? And we understood very clearly that this is an information problem that we're looking at, because the information is coming from one side, needs to be looked into, and then there's another part that needs to be done accordingly to the information that was gathered. So we said, okay, since it's an information and a notification part, because then the person will actually notify the driver, he will say, go to that location, do that. We recognize, okay, it's information coming in and information going out. So having a human in the center of that is actually not a very good idea, because as I already described, humans make mistakes, which is fine, but it's just a reality. Humans are distracted, scrolling on TikTok, and therefore we thought, okay, how can we build something that basically takes over the role of the dispatch in the future, but for now just makes the dispatch person lives easier, so he's more in a cockpit scenario than in an actual do-it-yourself scenario. So we said, okay, let's analyze this, and we asked our backend developer Mo from our travel tech, from our AI company, to take a look into this, and he looked at the whole dispatch, he looked at all of the drivers and how all of this works, the APIs from Uber and all of those things, and he said, yeah, it's easily doable. And we've built a very sophisticated version now, which allows us to almost automate the dispatch. What this means now, there's no time delay anymore. The moment the information comes in from Uber, from their API, we immediately give it to our drivers automatically. So it's not a person that needs to digest the information and then from there on act upon this information. No, it's handled automatically. And the second part is that we are able to collect more data from this, and we are able to now almost predict in the future where the next allocation will be needed. So we've built the MVP around this, and we're currently in the stage of integrating it into our operations. What does this actually mean for the competition? It means they're fucked. Why? Because we will be able to act the fastest in the industry. We will be able to allocate our drivers with a precision and speed which is unmatched across all other ride-hailing partners, across all other limousine companies in the UAE. None of them does it in an automated way. So of course there's still a few things that need to be ironed out first before this will actually show its full potential, but that's part of the process. Where am I going with this? I'm mapping out an example for you guys to understand what will happen in 1 or 2 years with companies that don't implement AI. So now picture yourself in our company, Mr. Nice Drive, and you're in an office and dispatch goes as smooth as it can because the dispatch driver just sitting there and just making sure that all of the things that the AI does are correct. So he's more in a controlling role. Now imagine our competition. They're still sitting there, juggling with the incoming information, one dispatch person per 20 vehicles, and they're fucked because they see our ratings go up because we accept rides faster than anyone else. This means we get more allocation, so they will see that they get less allocation. And all of this is not showing tomorrow, but it will show in a year or two. And that's why I'm addressing this video to you guys. You need to understand for yourself now what you need to do in order to survive the next 2 years. You'll not go bankrupt next week, but you'll be crushed in 2 years if you don't look at this right now. I promise that. And by the way, I've done a prediction video on this channel 1.5 years ago. You can take a look into this and then judge for yourself if my predictions on AI development are correct. So now you guys might ask yourself, okay, how to actually do this? And what I explained as an example right now for our limousine company is not something that you can implement in a week. I'm not saying that. And it took us quite a lot of resources in terms of brain capacity. And also Mo, who's our backend developer, is incredibly talented. So he has worked with one of the biggest banks in the UAE before. So he's certainly not someone who has learned some N8N automations last week. But this is not how you need to start. And this is also not how we started. You might ask yourself now, how can I get started? What can I actually do? I want to do this, but how can I get started? And I will explain it to you in the most simple way it can be done. So when it comes to automation, when it comes to AI, all of those things, you need to understand one thing first. And this is your business. You need to understand the processes of your business, like in the most possible detail, because only then you'll be able to design solutions. So the first thing you need to do is you need to look at your business and you need to look at your processes. I would recommend you to have an overview of all processes. That's my recommendation. It doesn't mean that you need to do it, that's just my recommendation. You need to look at the 2 or 3 most important processes in your company. It can be the most important processes in regards to revenue, which make you the most money. It can be the most important processes in regards to costs, which result in costing you the most money over time. So look at those processes and make sure you fully map them out. Person A does X, then this is a handover to person Y. Person Y does Z, and so on and so forth. You get it. The ideal result is a flow chart and descriptions that fully explain you what the process is doing and how it benefits your business. And if you can quantify the impact into your business, even better. But that's pro level. So now you take all of this information and now you use one very available tool, which is ChatGPT. You have your information, which can be in a Google Doc, and you just export it as a PDF, for example. And you upload this PDF into GPT, and you write a prompt that's something like, and make sure it's fully written, but just to give you an idea, the prompt should be something like, hey, I'm looking to automate certain parts of my business, and before I start, I want you to help me to analyze which processes, if you're given more than two or more than one, which processes I should focus on, and also what the different options of automating and improving those processes with AI are. So you use AI to help you make a better decision. That's a very, very important thing. One important rule: you should rarely be satisfied with the first output you get from any AI model. The first output you get might be good, but it will most likely need some tweaking. So once you have all of this information, you now need to judge it. You now need to make sure that you judge it in a way where you see business impact, potential business impact, and resources needed to realize this. Now you might say, yeah, I don't understand how much resources I will need. Again, ask GPT. Go down the rabbit hole to make sure that you understand the processes, and once you have done this, you now understand how to automate those processes. You need to go down those rabbit holes. So when you've done this properly, you now have fully understood which processes in your company should be looked into in terms of automation, in terms of AI, and you also now know which solutions would fit to those processes. So you have 3-4 different ways of automating each of those processes now. So now you need to use your brain and look into this and say, okay, I want to focus on this first. One simple thing. It can be one simple thing. Don't over-engineer for the first steps into those worlds, because it will complicate everything and you'll be demotivated because it will not work out properly. So take one simple thing, and now you need to make a decision if you either take someone in your own company to realize it, or if you hire someone else to do it. And there's plenty of good platforms where you can get good freelancers to realize this. It doesn't matter if you realize it with someone in your company or with someone external. One thing is always crucial to the result of any project, and that's the briefing. So now you need to make sure that you take all of this information and you put it into a proper briefing. And again, you can do this with GPT, with the chat that you have already used. So you can now say, okay, I want to do this solution for this process. Please create a briefing for this and make sure it includes clear acceptance criteria, so you actually know on how to evaluate if it was a success or not in implementation. Of course, you need to measure the impact of it later, but that's a different step. So now you have your briefing, and now you can hire someone in your company or hire someone external to do this. What I would not recommend to you is now opening YouTube, looking into N8N tutorials and trying to do it yourself. You'll waste a lot of time. Just get someone do it for you and ask him to explain it to you step by step what he has done. If you do this properly and you take one day of actually breaking down the processes, analyzing them, judging them, looking into solutions with GPT in the way that I just explained it to you, you take one day for that only, will be enough. Then you make a decision. Next day you hire someone, either internally or externally. The day after this person starts, 1 week later, this solution should be done. It shouldn't take longer. And this is the ideal way of testing the waters for your company to actually getting into the field of AI and automation. Why? Because there's low risk. Even if this solution will not make you a millionaire overnight, like you probably hope it will probably not. But even if the outcome of that is only a 5-10% efficiency increase and you sleep a little bit better because you have less stress, that's great. Worst case, it doesn't do anything. You've wasted a week, but you've learned something. Probably how to analyze your processes better. So it has a very little risk. It's 1 week. And it has a very, very high upside of actually contributing value to your company. So I really hope that everyone who's not looking into automations and AI already is taking this as a very, very simple way of going into this field, looking into that field for your company. So that's enough for today. Thank you very much, and feel free to reach out on my LinkedIn, on Peter's LinkedIn, or on X, or on Instagram, or send me whatever. Find me in Dubai, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.